one of the most epic songs in Final Fantasy IV ever. I always loved Inside the Giant. Welcome back to another chapter of Body of Dark, Heart of Light. Last time, Cecil Harvey has actually left Order's Sanctuary in order to go to the Edge of Madness and face chaos there after having that gruesome, terrifying nightmare in which he witnessed Cosmos' death, and as well as brainwashing of him utilizing a dark crystal. And in order to face chaos, he has to do it by himself, so he wouldn't harm his friends in the process, whether it be by his own hands or Chaos's. So, best of luck to him. Alright, Chapter 6. I own nothing. The city of characters and stages belong to their respective owners, except maybe this new stage that is featured here. And I desperately wish it would be in the next Dissidia at least. I don't know why those previous Dissidia games never came up with this idea. You'll see. Cecil somehow found himself in a colossal area. It consisted a lot of machinery and clockwork. There were also some pipes on numerous walls. And far ahead, there was a massive window overlooking the landscape of the lunar subterrane. He realized he was inside some sort of a mechanical giant. He was quite fascinated about this place. Where did it come from? What is this place? His curiosity was interrupted by a sudden lurch. His heart began to race. His eyes became sharper as he looked around the premises, and his throat felt tight. He started to feel very uneasy of what he was observing. Someone's here. I can feel it. This dark energy surging through me. Could it be Chaos? One of his fiends. He immediately grabbed his sword and looked around. Then a deep voice boomed. He at first thought he was speaking in his mind, but then he saw an enormous man clad in dark armor. At last you've arrived. Hold on. You're one of Chaos's minions, aren't you? Fear not. I do not wish to harm you, Golbez spoke calmly. Cecil. You know who I am? Indeed. I've been watching you since you first came here. Chaos spy? Who is he? What does he want? You were summoned here by the two gods, who've been wrathing in this war for nearly an eternity. Like the struggle itself, you deal with a more personal conflict. The light and darkness rage on within you, seeing which is more dominant. What are you trying to tell me? Are you going to enslave me to join Chaos? What is it that you know? Are you hiding something beneath that accursed armor? He couldn't resist to fight him any longer. So gallant, yet so fragile. It'd be a great shame to lose a fine warrior, even if he happens to be my younger brother. Cecil gripped his blade. His body was heating up with rage. I don't care how you're related to me. You're a pawn of Chaos, and you must be defeated. Admirable, but foolish. Even he knew about Cecil's motivations in ending the conflict. Cecil lunged toward him, and Golbez raised his hands as a huge barrier of electricity shot out toward him. The pain stung throughout his body. His eyes began to burn as he was pinned to the ground. He became immobilized and powerless, until something awoke inside him. His dark powers were taking effect. Among the stress, he managed to open his menacing eyes and grit his teeth. He then began to transform into a dark knight once again as he broke through, disabling the barrier. Golbez was astonished of what he could do. Chaos and Cosmos were right about him. He was truly unique, unlike the other warriors who have only either chosen evil or benevolence. He has both. Cecil swiped his sword, but Golbez jumped out of the way. He was strong and fast, but not as powerful as him. Golbez raised his palms, and two small nodes and a big one appeared. A volley of red lasers shot out. Cecil dodged them and used his blade to knock them away, his eyes still fixed on his enemy. He dashed toward the warlock, but he blocked his attack, making the Dark Knight vulnerable. He conjured a circle of electricity beneath Cecil and launched him upward in a blast of lightning, stunning and damaging him. Nightfall. I always hated that move. While he was in the air, Cecil changed into a paladin and charged toward him with his sword pointing out. As he soared, Golbez was caught in the onslaught. He was raised for a few seconds and slammed into the ground. The Saints fall. Golbez retaliated by teleporting behind the paladin. He was caught off guard before he fired electricity beams to shock him. They knocked him back and the pipes broke. They were emitting a toxic gas causing Cecil to choke. He avoided Golbez's next attack, relieved that his lungs received clean air. Just then the place began to shake, realizing that the giant was beginning to move. Cecil's hatred began to grow as he charged up. All that abuse was igniting his heart. Dark energy surrounded him and he released it to Golbez. He tried to push it back, but it was strong enough to knock him against another group of pipes. This time they released flames. He immediately turned away after they burned his armor. Cecil whacked Golbez, sending him to the air. He turned into a paladin again and missed as he tried to stab him. The moving sensation stopped and everything became still. Golbez shed out lasers again, and so did Cecil with radiant blue ones. And Searchlight. They made contact, repelling each other. They broke numerous pipes, releasing ice and strong gusts of wind. They were stunned for a moment since all of the elemental contents have been exposed, making the turf more perilous. The pipe's contents started to mix, causing various ailments. Golbez teleported again. This time Cecil was ready. He used his Soul Eater as he immediately changed back to his loathsome self. The blade pierced through Golbez's armor, and Cecil nearly sapped all his energy. When Golbez managed to push it away, Cecil smacked him with it. As a paladin, for a second, the warlock was dazed, but he shook it off. After the last strike, Cecil hesitated and somehow no longer had the urge to fight. What was going through his mind, he had no idea. Golbez stopped as well. He, however, understood why his brother halted. "You are strong, but why do you hesitate? Do you not wish to rid of a pawn for the god of discord?" Cecil could barely find the words he wanted to say. "I'm not sure. I felt something as I was fighting you. You seem to have dealt with darkness the same way. You too was involved in a dilemma, yet you chose this path because I was weak. We were brothers, but we both shared the same fate. All my life I treaded this malicious path, and my hatred for you began to grow. We both lost our parents, and I was being spoken to by a certain deity. I've been living in the shadows since I abandoned you." Cecil couldn't believe it. He figured that Golbez shared his pain with him, but deserting him the way he did, he still felt no rage, just pity. "You were driven to malice when we lost our elders. Then you were being manipulated like a helpless marionette. You didn't make a choice. He chose you." "But you can," Golbez spoke calmly. He at last melted the ice. "What?" "Unlike myself, you walked the path you've chosen. You started out with a tainted soul as a dark knight, yet your heart was still pure. You've done some benevolent deeds. However, you remorsed and were very pensive about your superior. The darkness wasn't consuming you until you were first summoned here. Then, the small flicker of light grown, and you've gained phenomenal strength as a paladin. Thus, you might have forgotten how you embraced it, and Chaos and Kuja are still taking advantage of it." "What are you implying?" Whatever is battling inside you, you'll always have a choice. I did make a choice! I chose Cosmos! Why do I still wield this accursed power inside me? It's who you are. You are desperate to vanquish the dark, but no one is either black nor white, unless if we're destined to. You have a strong will, and you must use it to end this conflict. True, darkness may not conquer pure evil, but if used with light, you can be unstoppable. A body of dark with a heart of light is your chance to victory. If you can accept it and have faith in who you are, you will prevail. That's what Cosmos said. He was about to say something, but Golbez disappeared without a trace. His heart sunk as he hung his head. For the first time, he began to make a strong bond with his own enemy. Beneath that armor, his soul is fragile, much like his. Brother, do not be... Brother, do not be like me. He couldn't tell if he heard Golbez out loud or in his mind, but with a new determination, he gazed outside and spoke. I won't. I'll defeat Chaos and win this. For both of us. Is there more to that? Oh yeah. Family. The bond between brothers. That is the sword that defends our empire. I pray that that sword stays strong. And from Prince of Persia, believe it or not. I was so infuriated that Duodecim did not include another exclusive stage for Final Fantasy IV. 'Cause, used a lame one from 6 inside the train, which leaves, like, barely any room. So I made one up, representing the Giant of Babel. While I had a dilemma for that place or Mount Ordeals, I decided to pick this one. It has an awesome theme and it has a stage hazard similar to Kefka's Tower, only it isn't just steam. But rather the pipes are random since they shoot out elements from the 4 Archfiends, which Cecil faced inside the Giant before taking down its central computer unit. As for Chaos's dark crystals, every warrior has one. It'll be explained later on why they did. But apparently Chaos took one step ahead before Cosmos. At least his crystals are taking effect more than hers. Never liked the plot of Duodecim. She wasn't able to make crystals of her own until the 13th cycle. So, too little too late, I suppose. Golbez and Cecil seem to have reconciled with their differences for the moment. They no longer see each other as enemies, but brothers in blood. And they are. They're both Lunarians and have similar destinies. If you played Final Fantasy IV, you would know. All his life, the Warlock was always toyed with by Zemus and now Chaos. He experiences it all over again, and he finds hope in Cecil that they'll both see the light when the war is over. Yes, this part does ignore Cecil's encounter with Golbez and Duodecim during Kane's story, but hey, it's non-canon. Even though I wish it was canon. Thanks for reading, guys. I hope I didn't slip away too much. Until then, see you all next time. So, believe it or not, we're on our way to the final chapter. Very short story, I gotta say, pretty fast. So stay tuned for that, guys.